Pathetic, Piers Morgan, you're beyond pathetic. Let's take a listen at this video first.
I also think you made. I think Dave made right, which is completely right. But I think Dave made a good point about the ideology that you can kill as many Hamas terrorists as you like, but you won't kill the ideology. In fact, what you might be doing, this has been a big fear of mine in the last few months, is what Israel may be doing in its desire to get rid of Hamas with all the collateral damage of all the innocent civilians, particularly children, because of the makeup of Gaza being 50% children, that actually what they're going to do is fuel the ideology which drove Hamas in the first place.
Well, exactly, and who's killing and starving the hostages?
Hang on, Elika.
It's Israel that's killing its own hostages. It's Israel that's starving its own hostages, and even the World Central Kitchen workers that the world was rightly outraged about. But where's that outrage when it comes to 40,000 Palestinians? And I think ultimately, as long as there is oppression, there will be resistance to it. And I said this on your show before. In order to truly kill Palestinian resistance, they're going to have to kill every single person in Gaza.
So how does it? How does it?
What they're doing.
How does this end?
And I also wanted to mention something just generally about what was spoken before. The Where's Daddy AI program, where they literally follow people from Hamas until they get home and then bomb them with their families inside of their home. So the idea that, Hamas is using human shields is absolutely ridiculous, and I need to refute that. And
there's no doubt that Hamas has built tunnels around hospitals, around
daycare centers,
children's centers, schools, and so on. There's no doubt they've done that. They don't even make a pretense of it. So I just don't think that's an arguable point anymore. And when it comes to killing people who are around their families, Hamas showed absolutely zero care at all.
Okay, so 2 points I want to make mention of. Number one is that, no, it is not Hamas that are using hospitals as human shield. It is Israel that are targeting these hospitals intentionally. Take a look at this particular article. I want to read here real quick. Israel is attacking Gaza's hospitals in violation of international law, but is it part of the pattern going back to 1948? Hospitals are supposed to be immune from attack in times of war, but Israel has repeatedly bombed and shelled them since October 7, 2023. Now, here is the other point that I wanted to make mention of. So, Piers Morgan, he's talking about Hamas, and they are killing their own people. And these people, the panel, they also argued, some other people, they also argued that, yes, this is the case, that Hamas is using their own people. They don't care about the Palestinian lives. Really? Like, are you guys, I don't know. But take a look. Since the beginning of, I think it was late 1987, when Hamas was formed, at the beginning of the first Intifada, the uprising that took place, people in Palestine right now, they have their 100% approval of Hamas. What they are doing today is something that is being a manifestation from the people of Palestine. Had Hamas been unwelcomed in Palestine, do you think, with just using just a little bit part of your brain, maybe 1% of your brain, do you think that people of Palestine and in Gaza would have let Hamas to stay in power and be able to form a military and then able to attack Israel? Do you think that is even possible? That is absolutely ridiculous. They would have formed their own police, or they would have formed their own, obviously this is not a state, so there will be no police, but their own military. There will be an anti-Hamas movement in Palestine if Hamas was killing Palestinian people. They were not. They were always asking just for one thing, when that is that freedom. We want two-state solution, and we want the process to start. So when Piers Morgan, take a listen one more time. I want to play, and I want you to hear from his own tongue how he is lying, how he's trying to change the narrative here. Hamas is not there to attack the Palestinian people. Otherwise, there will be an anti-Hamas movement going on at the moment. But look at this war. It is almost going to be 1 year, and Hamas cannot be defeated. Do you think if Hamas was so unpopular, they would have continued on this war for this long? I don't think so.
Schools and so on. There's no doubt they've done that. They don't even make a pretense of it. So I just don't think
there's no doubt about it that they have done that.
Like an arguable point anymore. And when it comes to killing people who are around their families, Hamas showed absolutely zero care at all
Yeah.
in who they indiscriminately, brutally murdered.
Many of those
on
people
October the 7th.
were brutally murdered by the Israeli army itself. The missiles that caused the
that's not true.
October 7th.
That's not true.
Yes, it is.
Look, listen, the truth is there were people who were killed in crossfire, but that's still on Hamas. I mean, you still can't take the blame off of them. The truth is that Hamas does not mind Palestinians dying. What Hamas was trying to provoke, this is what terrorism...
Absolutely not true. Absolutely false. These guys, I mean, this person, he came on the show talking about him as a father and how he would feel if his child was killed on October 7th. That's all he had to say. He doesn't have any knowledge. He is not an academic, far from it. And then he's now saying, pushing this idea, this notion that somehow Hamas, they don't care about the Palestinian people. Who are you, first of all, really?
Always is, right? Osama bin Laden hit us on 9/11. He said this in his own words.
How ridiculous these guys are ridiculous. They're using example of Osama bin Laden with Hamas. Like, really? Come on, Western media, you guys really need to educate yourself.
It's not because he thought that would take down the United States of America. He wanted to lure us into a war in Afghanistan like he did to the Soviets to bankrupt us. And what does Hamas want in this case? They want Israel to do what they know Israel was going to do.
Well, actually, this is where I think, look, I don't have all the hard evidence for this, but it seems to me what might be very likely that's going on here is that Iran's tentacles are behind a lot of this, that they helped Hamas do what they did in terms of arming them and giving them money and so on, and that they wanted something that would draw Israel into what they would see as a massive over-response. And the same with the rocket firing into Israel, is they're trying to goad Israel and potentially the United States into what they would see as an over-response, which might play into their hands.
Well, maybe you're right.
No, Iran is not making it a secret that they want Israel to stop oppressing the people of Palestine. They have never made it secret. So what Piers Morgan is saying is that somehow it is all about Iran. Really, guys, it is not about Gaza. It's not about Palestine. It's about Iran. Look how they're conspiring against Israel. That's all he's trying to convince us. Are you crazy? Iran is doing it for decades, and they're openly saying it, that yes, this is what we want. They're head of states mentioned several times, I think 100,000 times, that they want to get rid of Israel. They're open about it. I'm not saying whether they're right or wrong, but they're open about it. But Piers Morgan finding a reason, a hidden agenda of Iran, that guys, everything happening in Gaza is because of Iran. They are instigating this kind of violence. Piers Morgan, come on.
I haven't seen evidence to say that that's...
And I'll come to you for the final word, Well, let Dave finish his point.
Okay, listen, I haven't seen evidence to suggest that. It wouldn't shatter my worldview if I did. But if that's the case, what's the answer then, right? It's like, what do we do to fight Osama bin Laden? You don't get bogged down in a 20-year regime change war. Fight them with special operations, just like Israel always did before Netanyahu. They never treated the terrorism problem as a military problem. It was always assassination campaigns.
Okay, I don't think I should listen to this moron anymore. And obviously, Piers Morgan is beyond pathetic. He's a big-time liar. He doesn't read history. He doesn't know what is happening on the ground at the moment. So these are a bunch of ignorant fools. They're trying to just waste our time, really.